Hey, what's up guys, Mashine here, come back with a brand new video for you guys. Today we've got quite a good one lined up for you guys. We're going to be talking about CSGO's next case, what it's going to be potentially, what's going to be inside of it, but mainly we're going to be talking about the cases we got out there right now, which one we think is most likely to go, which one that a lot of people are feeling is not going to go, and a lot of things similar to that. Before we hop on into this one though, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. The sponsor for today's video is SkinsMonkey. Now, if you don't know what SkinsMonkey is, it's one of the most fast and efficient ways to trade out your CSGO skins if you're just not feeling it right now. You can go ahead, hop on over there, claim an extra free $5 on your first trade if you've never used it before. Plus, if you want to deposit some real money, you can get an extra 25% on top of that to spend on the site. It took me less than 3 minutes to complete the entirety of the trade, and if you guys are looking to do so yourself, it'll be the first link down in the description, and enjoy the video. Now, when we're looking at this topic, it's actually one of the few topics in CSGO that we have a lot of evidence on. There's been many cases that have been moved into the past pools. However, the big problem there is there used to be something called the non-prime drop pool, which I'm sure about 99% of you guys are aware of what it is. Basically, it was the kind of middle field between the rare drop pool and the active drop pool. That's all the explanation I'm going to give. I assume most of you guys know what that is. However, we do have a couple cases that have skipped over that, mainly two: the Prisma case and the Danger Zone case. Now, I'm not going to include the Prisma case in my analysis just because it's very hard to tell what the community's reaction was, because it was the first case we had ever seen go straight from the normal drop pool or the active drop pool all the way to the rare drop pool, and it's not something that a lot of people were ready for. So when we look at the Danger Zone case here, we're going to be looking at a couple main things, one of which is going to be roughly 4 to 6 months beforehand, seeing how many cases were unboxed. We're going to be heading on over to the CSGO Market Forum, using the data from over there, because it's probably the most accurate data you're ever going to find around this situation here. And we're going to be looking at that and seeing how many Danger Zone cases were being unboxed versus the rest of the active drop pool, and then we're going to be looking at that compared to now. So talking about the Danger Zone in this situation, we know that it was moved roughly the middle of January. The actual date is not too important here, so we're going to be looking at the 5 previous months before that, starting with August 2021. We're going to be heading all the way back there and working our way up. The lowest case unboxing was actually the Prisma 2. Now, I want you to note that all of these were still unboxed over 1 million cases, so there was definitely a lot of unboxings going on. However, Prisma 2 case was the least unboxed for the active drop pool cases. However, the margin was only 4% less than the Danger Zone case. So the Danger Zone case, roughly equivalent, honestly, to how many Prisma 2 cases were unboxed. Similarly, when we move on to September 2021, we can see that the Fracture case was the least unboxed, but still within a 10% margin is really nothing that is even significant enough to mention. When you look at October 2021, you're going to see roughly the same thing with that Prisma 2 returning with that 5% or less margin, so still within that area. And then November 2021, we see the Danger Zone is the least unboxed, and December 2021, the Danger Zone is the least unboxed. Now, as much as I would have liked to elaborate on that, I know a lot of people don't really care, but the main thing here is that the Danger Zone was consistently underperforming the average amount of cases being unboxed in the active drop pool. You see, with the Prisma 2 and the Fracture case, even though they were still not doing great in those other months, they weren't really at the bare minimum amount of cases being unboxed. I mean, they were still doing a significant amount of unboxings, and it was still a pretty decent case and a pretty decent money maker for Valve, so they had really no reason to remove it at that time, whereas the Danger Zone case really started to slip in those last 2 months, and even in the 3 before that, it wasn't doing very well. Now we're going to look at the current unboxing state. Now for this one, it kind of sucks a little bit because I'm going to have to go only the past 3 months, as in March, February, and January of 2022. Really gets iffy, at least in my opinion, when we start looking past that, because we had the Danger Zone case in there, and that really throws a big curveball in everything in this situation. So we're going to be bringing it back with these ones. One big thing I want to note is now we're not looking at a margin, we're going to be looking at the difference, and that's going to be in thousands of cases. Now this data we're going to be talking about here is very significant because we're going to see a clear trend. I mean, this is about as crystal clear as it gets. First up here, heading to January 2022, we're going to see the Fracture coming in at the lowest. This difference is almost 300,000 cases, which is quite significant. And the next highest above that is that Prisma 2, Then we move on to February 2022. Once again, the fracture case again is lacking behind. And this is about as big of a difference as I've seen looking at these trends, almost 500,000 cases difference. And then moving on to March 2022, same story here. Fracture case down almost 250,000 cases once again behind that Prisma 2 case, and that's just a pretty clear pattern. Now obviously this data shows that it's probably going to be the fracture case to go next into the rare drop pool. However, this is not very sustainably provided evidence. This is all based on the account that those Reddit numbers are correct. Plus, this is the only factor that Valve takes into account. You know, there's a lot of assumptions being made here, so it's not going to be the greatest thing in the world to trust it. However, it does give you a pretty clear picture here that the fracture case and the Prisma 2 case, honestly, are probably going to be the biggest or the highest consideration for moving into the rare drop pool next. Now, that doesn't mean they're guaranteed to be. However, this provides a lot of unfortunate news for clutch case investors. At this point, the only way I see a clutch case moving into the rare pool, which, you know, I would like as well, I'm invested into the clutch case, is if we see a clutch 2 case released very next. And that's pretty much the common opinion when talking about this. When asked on his stream what case he thought was going to go next, Heyzeus had this to say about it.
Looking at the active drop pool, it's probably going to be the fracture case going out next, although it could be the Prisma 2 as well. Clutch case is staying in. And I stand by that position until I'm proven wrong, in which case I'll pretend I never said that. But don't worry, the VODs disappear after a while, so nothing to be concerned about.
Unfortunately for him, this is always going to be here, but in actuality, I think that's probably going to be the best analysis we've got on the situation, or the most likely outcome is probably going to be one of those 2 cases that he mentioned there, because it's just the most obvious and easily seen trend. We saw it with the Danger Zone case that it was consistently coming up, underperforming the rest of the cases here. We're seeing it with the fracture case that is consistently underperforming the rest of the cases there. One big thing is, what does that mean for you as an investor? Well, if it's the fracture case to go, it actually does have a little bit of correlation elsewhere. The fracture case is also one of the biggest reasons, in my opinion, that the shattered web case is being held back, which I'm invested into pretty heavily as well. I think the shattered web case has definitely got a lot of potential out there, and it's one of the few discontinued cases in CSGO that doesn't have a super high quantity. Riptide and Broken Fang still have a super high quantity, and for the shattered web case, there's only less than 15,000 of them on the market at this point, which is a very small number. But that is really all I have for today, guys. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.